歡迎大家嚟。
Welcome to the year-end press conference of the President. The President will first say a few words, and then the floor will be open to questions, and journalists may ask questions on the work of the Council for this session. Thank you. The President, please. Good afternoon, friends of the media. In this briefing session, I would like to review, together with you, the work of the second session of the 7th Legislative Council, LegCo. On the whole, I would describe the performance of LegCo in this session as proactive and productive. Members discharged their LegCo duties in the spirit of daring to do and daring to take responsibility. With the improved electoral system and the implementation of the principle of patriots administering Hong Kong, the Council remained pragmatic and efficient in discussing issues and debating policies. In this session, 34 Council meetings were held, totaling 313 hours. Various bills and motions benefiting people's livelihood and society were passed. In this session, the administration tabled 37 bills, 32 of which have been passed by the Council. The Council also passed 3 members' bills. Many of the bills passed in this session sought to improve the livelihood and quality of living of the people, as well as to build a better community. One example is the work to reform the district councils and improve district administration. LegCo passed the relevant bill in July. This past Sunday, we witnessed the election of the new term of district councillors in a positive atmosphere with healthy competition among candidates. LegCo looks forward to working closely with the new term of district councils. There were other bills that sought to strengthen the protection of the regional flag and emblem as the symbol and sign of the Hong Kong SAR, implement the new toll plan for cross-harbour tunnels and rationalize cross-harbour traffic, increase the penalty for occupational safety and health OSH offences, increase the fixed penalty for littering, enhance the service standards of residential care homes for the elderly, promote the plastic-free drive and regulate disposable plastic tableware, etc. 2 bills that sought to enhance the quality of taxi service were just passed in the Council meeting this week. As the People's spokespersons, LegCo members performed their constitutional functions dutifully. In their deliberations on bills, they bore in mind their duty to solve problems for the public. They offered their pragmatic and objective comments to improve the bills. One example is the deliberations of the bill to increase OSH-related penalties. Members representing employees, employers, and professionals held different views on the maximum fine level. After rounds of discussion, they put the overall interests of the community first and reached a consensus so that OSH work in Hong Kong can move forward. Another example is the deliberations of the proposed toll adjustments for the free cross-harbour tunnels to ease traffic congestion. There were diverse views among the public on the proposed toll plan. Members from the transport sector proposed amendments so the public and the Council could discuss the issue in greater depth and the government could better understand the concerns of different sectors. At the end, the Council agreed to disagree and took a pragmatic approach of putting the overall interests of the community first. The bill was finally passed, and it is an important step towards resolving cross-harbour traffic congestion. During the deliberations of the bill to enhance taxi service quality, the government took on board the views of the Bills Committee and moved an amendment to double the maximum imprisonment term for driving illegal white licensed vehicles for a stronger deterrent effect. In this session, the Council completed the scrutiny of 134 items of subsidiary legislation subject to the negative vetting procedure. The government also moved 14 motions which may be approved by or amended by the positive vetting procedure. All the motions were passed. During the session, members put 150 oral questions, 840 supplementary questions, and 488 written questions to the government. Many of the questions were on livelihood issues. Additionally, LegCo conducted debates on 45 motions without legislative effect to convey the views of the people on matters of public concern. Here, I would like to mention that with rapid advancement in technology, the LegCo has been moving with the times in enhancing our service on a continuous basis. We have the smart transcription system, and it was used since September this year for preparing the verbatim records of the Council and the Finance Committee meetings. The Secretariat plans to extend the verbatim transcription service to other committees in the early next year. This will help the public to have a full record to follow the discussion of members and others at the meeting more precisely. With this system, the transcription process will be halved in terms of duration. And so for a 2-hour meeting, the notes of meeting as well as the verbatim record would be ready for issuing to those who attended meeting for the confirmation in 8 working days. And if the arrangement works well, the Secretary will also continue to roll out other enhancement measures. I often stress that positive interaction between the executive and the legislature is a key element in achieving good governance. Under the executive-led principle, the government and LegCo work with each other and also exercise check and balance on each other. We share common objectives. We will expedite the integration of Hong Kong into national development in line with the overall interests of the country and Hong Kong. We will continue also to leverage on the unique advantage of one country, two systems to create strong impetus for growth. The incumbent chief executive is committed to promoting mutual exchanges between the executive and the legislature. The anti-chamber exchange sessions that started last year was effective in promoting two-way exchanges between members and officials. This is a platform for officials to fully consult members during the policy-making process before the actual introduction of policies, so that down-to-earth policies can be formulated. In this session, 7 anti-chamber exchange sessions were held. There was in-depth discussion on a wide range of subjects, such as Hong Kong's proactive participation in the Belt and Road Initiative proposed by the country, the new direction for our economic development, competing for enterprises and talents, etc. To enable patriots administering Hong Kong to realize greater potential and create stronger values, and allow LegCo members to work with the executive at a high level in building a better Hong Kong together, I accepted another new initiative of the chief executive to replace the previous chief executive's question and answer session with the chief executive's interactive exchange question and answer sessions, for adding the new element of interaction between the chief executive and members. Questions and views could be put forward by either the chief executive or members. Through focused exchanges on important issues, members are inspired to put forward policy suggestions to the chief executive that are more specific and strategic with a broad vision. In this session, we held 4 chief executives question and answer sessions. 2 of them were the new interactive exchange sessions. The first interactive exchange question and answer session was held on the 18th of May this year, and the theme was Spirit of the 20th National Congress and the two sessions. Members actively raised questions and offered views to the Chief Executive on issues such as the financing of major infrastructure projects. The Chief Executive indicated later that members' views were constructive and would be taken on board. The second interactive exchange question and answer session was held on the 13th of July to continue with the effective interactive approach. Members provided constructive views on other topics in the 20th National Congress report, such as the development of the arts and cultural industry and rule of law talents. They considered both the policies of Hong Kong and the development of the country, seeing both the wood and the trees. Hong Kong is now in a new phase of advancing from stability to prosperity. LegCo is committed to working closely with the executive. Through study and exchange visits to the mainland, we can enhance our advantages of being backed by our country and closely connected to the world. This April, the Chief Executive led a delegation of the SAR government and LegCo to visit 4 mainland cities in the Greater Bay Area, GBA, on areas such as innovation and technology, smart city, environmental protection, youth development, arts and cultural education, etc. The visit was the first joint visit with the Chief Executive to the mainland after the implementation of the principle of patriots administering Hong Kong. The scale of the visit was the largest ever and is another good example of positive interaction between the executive and the legislature. In July this year, I led a LegCo delegation to Fujian for a 5-day study visit. The visit was of great significance as it was the first study visit to Fujian since the establishment of the Legislative Council 25 years ago. It was a highly rewarding visit. First-hand experience and information gained from the visit were shared and discussed with the government through various channels in the Council after the visit. Members gave full play to team spirit and formed themselves into 7 groups based on their knowledge and edge in different professional sectors. The 7 groups focused on different themes such as financial services, tourism and conservation, development, cross-boundary elderly care and healthcare services, and so on. A visit report was compiled and includes policy suggestions with broad vision from members. The delegation subsequently submitted the report to the Chief Executive for his consideration. I am pleased to see that many of the recommendations in the report were adopted by the Chief Executive in his policy address. Some examples are extending the coverage of the healthcare voucher for the elderly to suitable medical institutions in GBA, adopting the industry-driven and infrastructure-led approach for the overall planning of the Northern Metropolis, capitalizing on Hong Kong's international position in maritime arbitration, and expediting the development of the AI supercomputing center. This is another demonstration of positive interaction between the executive and the legislature, and together we can enhance governance and achieve more to benefit the community. This is the 25th anniversary of LegCo. Before the start of the press conference, I showed you the cover of our report with the words proactive and productive. That's actually how I would sum up the work of this session of the Council. I became a LegCo member in 2004. I've seen the ups and downs of LegCo, and then in the past 5 years, like the Hong Kong community, LegCo went through various challenges. We faced the good times and the bad and went through storms and sunshine together with the public. With the support of the central authorities and the effort of the SAR government and LegCo, our electoral systems were improved and Hong Kong has heralded in the new milestone era of advancing from stability to prosperity. Our stability was hard-earned. We fully appreciate that Hong Kong is still faced with various economic and livelihood issues. With the improved electoral systems and the deepening collaboration between the executive and the legislature, patriots administering Hong Kong will be able to create stronger values and promote further solidarity. So together we will promote the development of Hong Kong, resolve issues for the public. LegCo will strive to promote the sense of happiness, gain, and security of the people by being proactive and productive. Thank you.
The floor is now open. You're welcome to put questions to the President about the work of the Legislative Council. Please state the media outlet you represent. Hi, I'm from the Hong Kong Economic Times. Kenneth Chan, the Secretary General, will retire in July next year. Has the Legislative Council completed the selection process? Has a successor been chosen? Or is it ongoing? Dr. Stephen Wong resigned as a Legislative Council member and became head of the Chief Executive Policy Unit. So there is one member less in the Council. Does it affect the operation of the Council? Will a by-election be held as quickly as possible? Also, on enacting legislation on Article 23 of the Basic Law, John Lee, Chief Executive, said that the exercise will be completed next year. 20 years ago, when the proposal was first floated, that sparked a territory-wide protest. Now, will there be security risks in relation to LegCo complex when this proposal is floated again next year? Or is it that since we have entered a new phase from stability to prosperity, there is no need to introduce security measures? Now, to answer your first question, the answer is very simple. The Secretariat is proceeding with the recruitment. We are making good progress, but it's not for me to disclose details here since the exercise is still in progress. Second question about Dr. Stephen Wong resigning and taking up a government position. You asked whether the Council's operation will be affected. Of course, for a member of such caliber, our operation will be affected, but then we still have so many members in this Council. We have only one member less. So the impact shouldn't be too significant. About by-election, I think this is to be decided by the government. So perhaps you should put this question to the government. The third question about Article 23 legislation. Now, the request came from the central authorities 26 years ago. It is our constitutional duty. Under the improved electoral system and implementing the principle of patriots administering Hong Kong, there is room for us to start this discussion. When the administration has completed drawing up this bill, there will be consultation with the stakeholders. In fact, recently, as you see on TV, there is a series of more than 10 episodes about national security. So I think time is ripe for us to have a rational discussion about this legislative proposal so that we can discharge our constitutional duty as required by the Central People's Government. I think that this is an opportune time to deal with the Article 23 legislative proposal. The speaker didn't use a mic. Now, under the principle of patriots administering Hong Kong and moving from stability to prosperity, I think that as long as we uphold as long as we have rational discussions, I don't think we will be misled by this information. So as long as we remain rational, I don't think anyone will charge at the Legislative Council complex. Next question. President, I'm from Ming Pao. Some questions about the figures. For example, government bills passed and oral questions made, written questions made. Can you compare this year's figures with the previous year? Are there more or less? Now, starting from September this year, an AI transcription system will commence its operation. Will you consider including exactly the name of the member making the statements in the transcript? Under the improved electoral system, is it frequent that divisions are not claimed so that members could vote anonymously? Because there is a concern that if we see more and more instances of voting without claiming a division, then there is a concern that members' names won't be jotted down and that there is no way to find out if the member is even present or not. Now, to get back to you on figures, we had 34 meetings this year. We had 33 only, and the total number of meeting hours this year was 313. Last year it was 264 hours. Now, we passed 37 bills this year. Last year we only passed 25. I beg your pardon. I mean, the administration tabled 37 bills this year. Last year, they tabled 25. This council passed 32 bills this year. Last year, only 17 bills were passed. We also passed 3 members' bills this year. Last year, we didn't pass any. That is why I describe this legislative year as being proactive and productive. We are all committed to discharging our duty. Very often in the council, we just voice out how we vote. This is, in fact, the norm of a parliament. All meetings are conducted in an open and transparent manner. In fact, say, at the Bills Committee meetings, members put a lot of questions. The questions have been addressed. Different views have been put forward, and that members arrive at a consensus and set aside the differences. The administration, likewise, will accept some of the amendments proposed by members and incorporate them as a committee stage amendments moved by the administration. Likewise, this is the norm of the parliament. Now, members need to keep up appearances. They also understand public concerns. So, as you can see, after the recess, in terms of the voting rate and the members' attendance, there is an improvement since this is transparent. We are not shirking off, and it is not as suggested that it is not transparent as we have anonymous voting, especially with the commencement of the AI transcription system. Everything is in the open domain. We prepare verbatim transcript, and then a hyperlink will be generated. And if you click the link, you will find the name of the member uttering those words at exactly the timestamp indicated. And again, at the time of voting, you can click the link and check members who have voted in favor of or against or abstain from voting on the motion. So for the AI transcription system, I think this is a very good system. It allows everyone to have great clarity as to whom has said what at what time. And the verbatim transcription system is much quicker than the manual method. In the past, we would spend 4 months in preparing a transcript. Now, it can be completed in just 8 days. And this will be circulated to members as well as the administration. And if no further revision is required, it can be released in the public domain. Of course, the webcast is available to all at any time. This is how we ensure transparency. Is it possible to provide subtitles simultaneously at the same time? It depends on the assessment of the Secretariat. New measures will be rolled out to help everybody understand the progress of meetings. Any other questions? From Chinese correspondence news, the CE Q&A session has become the Chief Executive interactive and exchange questions and answer sessions. What is your take on this? Will more such sessions be held next year? I think that there is positive interaction. In the past, members put questions only, and then the Chief Executive would give a reply. Sometimes tricky questions would be put, and the Chief Executive answered them, and that's it. Now there is a chance for the Chief Executive to ask the member in return his view on the matter. So it's not a one-way street. If you put this question to the Chief Executive, then you must have an opinion in mind. Otherwise, it will look bad on you. So the member must, of course, have his own version of the answer before the question is put to the Chief Executive. And this is a good way of interaction. The member can make suggestions to the administration on what should be done to solve the problem. That means the member concerned must think carefully before putting this question to the Chief Executive instead of just fishing about. I think this can help improve the quality of our work in the Council. I'm from LegCo President. You mentioned that members should also bear in mind the public image. Now, after the summer recess, do you think that after this reminder, substantial improvements have been made? Does it mean that before the summer recess, members did not really understand their duties? Now, in fact, after the summer recess, I agree that there has been a change. Even on a very minor topic, many members would be very keen to speak. Do you think that there is sufficient time for them to speak out? And about the Legislative Council complex, it will be complete. The extension will be completed in the middle of 2025. Will there be sufficient time for them to move back into the complex?
Now, members have heavy workload. They need to talk to their assistants on preparing questions or speeches and so on. So that's why they are not often in the chamber, but they are actually in the complex. Now, in the past, say if there's a non-controversial bill or the disputes have been resolved, and even though the bill was put to vote, members might not come to chamber because they were working in the building. And then on Wednesday, officials like to come and visit members. They talk to different groups of members on a Wednesday when most members are here, so it's easy for them. That's why, members actually are attending to many different tasks at the same time. And then sometimes they may not remember that it's a matter of perception whether they show up or not for the vote. So yes, on some occasions you might see that there were just 2 or 3 members voting, but then if it's a controversial bill, then there would be arguments and debates before voting. Well, that's how parliaments work, actually. And then, the prefect reminded members, and the members now realize, well, there is TV broadcasts and webcasts, and people are watching them, so they would still come to the chamber, even though they are actually working in the building. And, of course, the public want to see them present there in the chamber, and so that's why they will now come to the chamber. Is it that their mindset changed? Not, but rather they are now aware of the demands of the public, so they will try to meet that demand. But then the situation is more or less the same before and after. Your second question, what is it? Now each month We have meetings with the Architectural Services Department and the contractor. We are monitoring the program and the progress, and progress is good. It's within schedule. And next, well, we are like putting up building blocks on top of the complex. And next week, the last block will be put in place. We are still trying to work out which day next week to do so. And we will witness the placing of the last block. But even the last block is placed, there's still much follow-up work. And we hope that by the end of next year, we'll be able to take over the 4 new stories. And then by batches, we will allow members to move in. So members need not worry. So we want to do it within next year. So members will have a year to work in the new offices. And then all 90 members will be housed in the same complex. That's something we're working on now. And as for the triangular block next to us, progress is also good. Well, as long as the weather stays fine and there are no major typhoons or rainstorms next year, then we'll be able to move into the new floors as planned. Any other questions, please? Good morning. I'm from the Oriental Daily. Now, after improved, I think the electoral systems, there are many more new members joining the council. Do you think the members' performance is getting better? And in the past, there were various disputes, such as the concert for LegCo members. Now that LegCo members have been in the council for 2 years, do you think things have improved and there won't be so many controversies? And you say the LegCo should work with the executive and there also be check and balance on each other. So where do you see there's check and balance between the executive and the legislature? Now on check and balance, you see that in Bills Committee meetings, various views are put forward. For example, the rationalization of cross-harbor traffic. We will convey different views to the administration for them to take on board. And then occupational safety and health, as I mentioned, there were also different views expressed. And then we just passed 2 bills this week on taxi services. So we have increased the penalty for driving white licensed vehicles. So that's a good demonstration of positive interaction as well as check and balance. For example, like public housing, initially the cost was high and then all the locations were remote. And you might recall members really complained much about it. At the end, several plots were identified in the urban area. So that means members are actually speaking up for the public. We just want to serve the public. But so we are on the same boat, but there may be different angles. And so that's why we want to convey positive views to the administration. It's the same, say, with the demand-side measures for the property market. Members believe that the spicy measures ought to be withdrawn, and the administration has heard us. So it's good to have back-end check and balance. Now, some members have been in this council for 2 years. They're no longer newcomers. They have gained experience. Members represent different sectors and the views of those sectors. If everybody says the same thing, well, you can accuse us of being a rubber stamp, but now they are expressing different views. And now you want us to all see things the same way and behave? Now, is it the case that some means bills speak just for the sake of speaking? Now, members have to perform the duties. They have to speak and let people see they're actually doing work here. Otherwise, if there are just 1 or 2 members speaking and then the motion is put to a vote, you will complain for another reason. Now, I think for all new members, they have now adapted to the work of this council. They all know exactly what their duties are. And, members probably have to go and meet their sectors or if district residents, every night. And members, if they sing just to, lighten up the atmosphere, there's nothing wrong with that. Is it appropriate to stage a concert? Well, many of our members are good singers. There's another member who played the saxophone in private functions. So these are ways for them to connect with each other, and I think it's just fine to do something appropriate on the appropriate occasion. I'm from Hong Kong 01 President. Now you say the LegCo members are here to speak up for the public, but then the news media. There's now less attention on the work of the council. So how do you think policies could be improved? Well, I think in any society, the work of the council or parliament is considered mundane. They won't follow what we do every day. Even you are reporters, you're supposed to report on work. You may not do so as closely. And, the work of council is not, something as interesting as a soap opera. But what is interesting is played out at Bills Committee meetings, and all these meetings are open to the public. There's not closed-door meetings. Now, if there is an issue of concern to the public, for example, the mandatory reporting of child abuse, you see that the professionals, the teachers are very follow the bill with keen interest. But then for other members of the public, they may not have so much interest in that bill. So don't think LegCo works like TV dramas. People may not be interested in our work each and every day. But for those whose interests are involved, they will come and meet with members and talk to them. For example, e-cigarettes. Now, we only allow transshipment through Hong Kong, and many people have expressed some concern there, but for the general public, they're not interested in this issue. So everything we do is done out in the open, and members can come and meet, people can come and meet with members. They can come and give their views as deputations, and they can follow our open public meetings. Now, members of the public may not all share the same interest in the same issue, but definitely the work of this council will be of interest to some groups in the community.
Any other questions? If not, then thank you for coming. That's the end of the press conference.